There are very few things in Star Wars that can truly be called perfect. But if there is one season of television that comes close, it is the final season of The Clone Wars. For years, fans had been waiting, hoping that the series would get the proper conclusion it deserved. And when Season 7 finally arrived, it was clear from the very first episode that this was going to be something special. This was not just another season. It was a farewell to a story that had been building for years. It was the culmination of everything that came before. The final moments before the Republic fell, the Jedi were destroyed, and the galaxy changed forever. Every episode carried weight. Every arc had purpose. And by the time it was all over, it was impossible to deny that this was the greatest season the Clone Wars had ever seen. What made it even more powerful was how much care and attention went into every single frame. The animation was breathtaking, the storytelling was sharper than ever, and the emotional depth was unlike anything the series had done before. It was not just an ending, it was an event. And the fact that it tied directly into the larger Star Wars saga only made it more impactful. But what really makes this season stand out is not just the spectacle. It is the way it treats its characters, the way it allows them to grow, to change, to face the reality of the war they have been fighting for so long. It is the way it brings everything full circle, showing us not just the final days of the Republic, but the final days of the people we have followed for years. And it does all of this with an emotional weight that is impossible to ignore. So today, we are going to break it all down. We are going to go through every major arc, every key moment, and explain exactly why Season 7 is not just the best season of the Clone Wars, but one of the best Star Wars stories ever told. It is still unbelievable that after all those years of waiting, wondering, and hoping, we finally got the 7th season of the Clone Wars. It felt like a dream, and yet, here it is, standing as the greatest testament to what this show was always meant to be. This season did not just continue the series, it elevated it to a whole new level. The moment it was announced, it sent waves through the Star Wars fandom, and for good reason. For years, the show had been trapped in an uncertain fate, left unfinished with so many untold stories. And then, suddenly, the final 12 episodes arrived, and they delivered an emotional roller coaster that left a lasting impact. Every episode was crafted with such care, such detail, that it was clear this was not just another season. The lighting, the character expressions, the fluidity of the battles, it was all breathtaking. Every scene carried weight, every moment was sharpened to perfection, and the end result was nothing short of masterful. This was not just a final season, this was an event, a spectacle, and a statement that Star Wars animation was at its peak. Every second carried meaning, and every arc had a purpose. It was not just about action or spectacle, it was about bringing everything to its inevitable conclusion, tying together years of storytelling in a way that was satisfying and heartbreaking at the same time. Right out of the gate, the season wastes no time reminding us why The Clone Wars is one of the greatest pieces of Star Wars storytelling. The Bad Batch arc sets the tone for everything that follows, immediately gripping us with its energy and intensity. These first 4 episodes introduce Clone Force 99, a group of genetically enhanced clones with abilities that make them one of the most dangerous squads in the Republic's arsenal. But it is not just about action, it is about identity. The show has always done an incredible job of making the clones feel like real people, not just faceless soldiers. And the Bad Batch are the ultimate representation of that, each one different from the others, not just in skill, but in personality. They push against the idea of conformity, challenging what it means to be a clone in a war that treats them like nothing more than numbers. And at the heart of this arc is Rex, who faces one of the most emotional conflicts of his entire journey. The discovery that Echo is alive is both a shock and a tragedy, forcing Rex to confront the cost of this war in a way he never has before. It is a painful reminder that even when victories are won, they come at a price, and sometimes that price is too high. By the end of the arc, Echo makes his choice, and it is not an easy one. He joins the Bad Batch, stepping into an uncertain future, where he is no longer just another soldier in the Republic. It is a bittersweet conclusion, but it is exactly the kind of storytelling that makes this season stand out. If there is one thing this season does better than any other, it is character-driven storytelling. And nowhere is that more evident than in Ahsoka's arc in the lower levels of Coruscant. After leaving the Jedi Order, she is completely lost, wandering into a world she has never known before. A world where people do not see the Jedi as heroes, but as symbols of corruption and failure. The introduction of the Martez sisters brings a different perspective to the war, one that the show has rarely explored. For them, the Jedi are not saviors. They are the reason their parents are dead. This completely shatters Ahsoka's understanding of the galaxy, forcing her to confront the reality that the war has done more harm than good. It is a painful but necessary realization. This arc also highlights how Ahsoka is still struggling to find her place. She is no longer a Jedi, but she is not just a regular citizen either. She still wants to help people, to do the right thing, but without the authority of the Order, she is forced to navigate a world that sees her as just another outsider. And yet, she never loses her sense of compassion, proving that she is still the hero we always knew her to be. It may not be the most action-packed arc of the season, but it is one of the most important. It lays the foundation for Ahsoka's mindset going into the final episodes, showing us exactly how much she has grown, and preparing us for the storm that is about to come. And then, everything changes. The siege of Mandalore begins, and from the very first moment, it is clear that this is something special. The music, the cinematography, the sheer scale of it all, it feels like the grand finale the show has always deserved. Ahsoka's return to the Republic fleet is one of the most powerful moments in the entire series. Seeing her reunite with Anakin, only for them to part ways almost immediately, adds an extra layer of tragedy to everything that follows. This is the last time they will ever see each other as friends, and we know what is coming. But there is no time to dwell on emotions because Mandalore is a war zone. The Republic's forces descend on the city, and what follows is one of the most visually stunning battles in all of Star Wars. The duel between Ahsoka and Maul alone is enough to make this arc legendary. Everything about this arc is perfection. From the way it ties into Revenge of the Sith, to the way it keeps us on the edge of our seats. It is the kind of storytelling that makes this show unforgettable. Order 66 is issued, and suddenly, the clones that Ahsoka fought beside for years turn against her. It is a gut-wrenching moment, one that is executed with flawless precision. Rex's struggle against the inhibitor chip is some of the most powerful storytelling this series has ever given us. Watching him break down, trying to resist something that is completely out of his control, is heartbreaking. And Ahsoka's refusal to kill her brothers, even when they are trying to kill her, shows just how strong she truly is. The music, the silence, the sense of inevitability, it all creates a feeling of overwhelming dread. We know what has to happen, we know there is no escaping it, and yet, we cannot look away. By the time the final episode arrives, it feels like the end of an era. Everything has changed, and nothing will ever be the same again. And so, Ahsoka and Rex find themselves trapped in a nightmare. They have spent years fighting alongside the clones, trusting them, leading them, and now, those same brothers have become their executioners. The weight of it all is unbearable. This is not just another battle, this is survival against an enemy they cannot bring themselves to truly hate. Ahsoka's decision to remove Rex's inhibitor chip is one of the most powerful moments in the entire series. She refuses to see him as anything other than the person he has always been, even as he struggles against the command in his head. And when Rex finally breaks free, it is a moment of both relief and sorrow. He is back, but he is also fully aware of what has just happened. What follows is an intense escape that is nothing short of breathtaking. The desperation, the heartbreak, the impossible odds stacked against them. It is one of the most thrilling sequences in all of Star Wars. But beneath the action, there is something so much deeper. There is the pain of knowing that even though they might survive, there is no future waiting for them at the end of this fight. And that final stand. The moment Ahsoka and Rex realize they have to face their brothers, knowing there is no way to reason with them. It is gut-wrenching, because we know they do not want to fight, but they have no choice. And the fact that neither of them ever once considers killing the clones, even when it would be the easier option, speaks volumes about who they are. By the time the battle is over, the war is lost, the Republic is gone, the Jedi are gone, and all that remains is destruction. The final episode is not about victory, it is about loss. And the way it unfolds is nothing short of poetic. Ahsoka and Rex stand over the graves of the clones, knowing that they were never the enemy. Even after everything, they still honor them, still mourn them. It is a moment of quiet devastation, one that lingers long after the credits roll. Because this is not just the end of the Clone Wars, this is the end of everything they once believed in. And then, that final image. Vader, standing in the wreckage, holding Ahsoka's lightsaber, the last remnant of the person he once was, now reduced to nothing more than a shadow of his former self. It is haunting, it is tragic, and it is the perfect way to end this journey. Because it does not offer hope, it does not offer closure. It simply reminds us that this is the beginning of something far worse. There is no grand celebration, no happy ending, only silence, only the weight of what has been lost. And that is what makes this finale so powerful, because it does not try to ease the pain. It forces us to sit with it, to understand that some things can never be undone. And that is why Season 7 is the best. Because it did not just bring the Clone Wars back, it gave it the send-off it always deserved. It honored the characters, the story, and the fans in a way that few finales ever do. Every episode had meaning, every arc had weight, and by the time it was over, it had cemented itself as one of the greatest Star Wars stories ever told. It took everything the series had built up and brought it to a conclusion that was both inevitable and heartbreaking. It did not take shortcuts, it did not hold back. It gave us closure, but not comfort. and that is what makes it stand above the rest. It treated its audience with respect, understanding that we did not need a happy ending, we just needed an honest one. The Clone Wars was always more than just a show about a war. It was a story about identity, about loyalty, about the cost of conflict. And this final season captured all of that in the most powerful way possible. It showed us the final moments before the fall of the Republic, and it did so with the care and attention that this series always deserved. So when people ask why Season 7 is the best, the answer is simple. It was not just an ending, it was a masterpiece. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to subscribe to Critical Analysis Hub for deep dives into the Star Wars movies, and check out Critical Analysis Hub Plus for case studies on Star Wars shows. Also, if you want to rep the fandom in style, check out the bio for awesome Star Wars Legos and Funko Pops. May the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next one.